I met Rabbi Maisels in the mid-80s when I relocated to Welkom for a short period of time after my parents passed away. And he was the rabbi in Bloemfontein. And we would go to Bloemfontein for functions, for HOD. And even then, 35 odd years ago, he was the most incredible, friendly person. I came back to Cape Town in 1990. And in 1992, I joined Camp Shul, where Rabbi Maisels was the rabbi. And we really got on. We had an incredible relationship. With Raymond's father, Rabbi Klitzner, Rabbi Maisels kind of co-bar mitzvahed my two sons 25 plus years ago. He buried both of Beverly's parents. So there was a personal relationship with him. When I decided to go on my own after being at New York Bagels for 15 odd years, I approached Rabbi Maisels and I asked him what I should do. And he said, sure, I've even got a place for you to work out of. My brother-in-law owns the Belmont Hotel. I'll phone him. And so in the middle of 2008, I started producing my own products. And there's no ways I could ever have succeeded or even failed if it hadn't been with the assistance of Rabbi Maisels. Every single ingredient he sourced, he found, he approved, he okayed. He ensured it was the best product that was on the market and that it would allow me to make a marker. And year after year, my products grew. And about 12 years ago, after I'd been in business maybe a year or two, he said to me, why don't you do Pesach? I said, all right, but I can't do Pesach. He said, I'll show you. And he did. And the very first year, he said to me, we need to kasher your kitchen for Pesach. And he told me what was involved. And boy, was I in for a surprise. In true Rabbi Maisels' time, he said, I'll be there after shul on Sunday night. And this was maybe 2 or 3 months before Pesach. And he arrived at 8 o'clock. He'd been to visit somebody. He'd been to see a sick somebody in hospital. And what should have taken maybe an hour and a half took 4 hours. He finished about 1 o'clock in the morning. And for 50% of the time we chatted, we spoke. And he just had a unique way about him of making you feel comfortable, feeling at home. And he made me comfortable and he gave me confidence. When it came to kashering the kitchen, he had his own way of doing it. It was unique to him, and obviously it worked. He would arrive in a pair of overalls, probably similar to what he did shchita in, and an old stainless steel kettle with a plug-in handle that you had to plug in and boil for maybe 10 minutes before the kettle boiled. And he wouldn't use anything else but this kettle. And every surface had to be cleaned and washed down. And he did it. And it was no hassle. And he didn't need any help. But the stories he told in between waiting for the kettle to boil are stories that I will never forget, and perhaps for another time. Over the years, my range grew, and as it grew, so did my relationship with Rabbi Maisels grow stronger. Every year I brought out new products, and they certainly were not mine. They were Rabbi Maisels. He guided me, he told me where to source products, where to find ingredients. I remember last year he said to me, why don't you do baby food? Rabbi, I don't want to do baby food. He said, I've got a manufacturer. You need to find a bottle and a label, and I'll get you baby food. Obviously, I needed an outlet, and Checkers, ShopRite weren't interested. So I did other stuff. This year, we were going to do a few more products, which obviously we didn't do. I'm doing less this year, also given the COVID situation, and nobody knows what kind of Pesach we will have. One year, he got me pineapple, dried pineapple, from a farmer he knew near the Orange River. On many occasions, when people were short of products for Pesach or specific ingredients, he would go to the specific factory and make the products himself. One Friday morning, I needed fish spice. So after shul, off he went to a company called Deli Spices, and he made the fish spice himself. He brought it to me, having paid for it. He was unbelievable. He knew no boundaries when it came to assisting anybody. He was not harsh with criticism, but he was so helpful. He would point out if I'd done something wrong, and he would correct it, but with dignity. He didn't make me feel small or inadequate. And when I was doing brachas at the shul, the same applied. He let me do whatever I wanted to do, and if there was something wrong, he would tell me subtly and not in front of anybody. Sadly, this year we were due to kasher my kitchen on Sunday the 17th, 2 days after he passed away. I knew I had to do it. Pesach has to go ahead, and life is such that it has to go on. So with the assistance of David Jubiler and David Cohen, I did kasher my kitchen. It took 2 hours. It wasn't fun. It was a job that had to be done, and it was done. And I'm currently preparing for Pesach. When I used to drop Rabbi Mazel's off on the Sunday night, it would sometimes be as late as 1 o'clock. And he'd look at his watch and say, gee, I'm early. I can still get 3 hours sleep before Shechita in the morning. He was that kind of guy. I will miss him. And the input that he put into providing so many kosher products, not only for Cape Townians, but throughout the country, and in fact throughout the world, can never, ever be replaced by anybody. He used to show me when he came to Checkers, he would pick up a tin of tuna, and he'd say, you see printed there, Rabbi Mazel's with a Hebrew date. I went to the Philippines 6 months ago. I did 700,000 tins of tuna, and they all went to Checkers. He just did it. Nobody knew about it. He did it. The products arrived, and nobody was any the wiser who had kashered them or where they had come from. So my memory of Rabbi Mazel's will be a fondness and of somebody that was a mentor to me and who actually taught me more about food than anybody else could have taught me. It was an absolute pleasure working with him, and I will miss him. And I'm grateful. I will be eternally grateful for having been a part of Rabbi Mazel's life and he being a part of mine.
Beautiful,
Thank
Barry.
you.
Thank you very much for sharing that.
Barry.
It's wonderful memories.
Yeah, Barry.
We're going to it's recorded.